I like
I
it.
really, I need you to do it, but like I'm a close second, I guess. Welcome to the Blowhard Index. This is the show where two woke, ESG interested
I thought you were gonna say white.
non-investors, no, not white, woke,
Okay.
give me terrible reasons to buy stocks and companies because let's face it, your
So,
clients are probably idiots and so are
so
mine.
that's the premise you're starting with. That
That's the premise.
okay.
That's where we're going with this show. I'm Matt Moscardi. That was Damion Rollis. And if you're watching the live stream or YouTube, it's Emma Damakosh up in the top right corner.
Yes.
Um, I spent 10 years doing ESG analytics.
I, I.
Damion spent 15 as a governance analyst, and Emma recently graduated as a social justice warrior who pretends to hate capitalism. So that's who we are.
Fair.
I mean, is
If
that wrong?
only I
It's not
was
wrong.
pretending.
It's fair to say that she's pretending. It's fair to refer to both of us in the past tense.
Yeah,
Um,
dang.
So we're going to let's do a quick rules refresher for the show. We're going to start by finding out something about my clients, Damion and Emma. we're going to go over the portfolio we've got, as bad as it is, and then Emma or Damion can choose to sell or hold things that they've already bought. If they sell, they have to have a reason for it. But even if the reason is as stupid as I just want to take my money back, but they have that option. And then they brought 5 additional stocks each. So we've got 10 stocks. We're going to go through them. If they choose, they can buy a stock we already have. They can double it down, and hopefully we'll end the show with me in a mild fit of rage, which would be, I think, success. Right? That's what we're calling success. Does that make sense?
No, I would like just regular fit of rage, not even mild.
Okay, so we'll go with a regular fit of rage.
Yeah, because mild that's you waking up as a mild fit of rage.
Mm.
So, if we're good on the rules, then let's blow hard on the stock market and the Blowhard Index.
That's what we're looking for.
That's what we want. Yeah. Okay, so before we get rolling into the stocks, let's have our first moment where I pretend to care about anything that you want or need or think. So question, I want to start the show with a question for both of you. And I don't want you to think that hard because that would be anathema to the show. We'll start with Emma. What do you think the biggest risk to your portfolio might be?
Oh God,
My current portfolio?
Yes. Well,
Feel
a
tired all of a
fictional
sudden.
portfolio, a real portfolio, this one, whatever. What do you think
What's
the
your
biggest risk is?
biggest risk?
Tell me your biggest risk.
I think that my biggest risk is probably that it's probably that I'm overly focused on things that don't make money.
Okay, that is a risk, for sure.
Despite the fact
that's
that
if you
the more
define your
research
risk. That's only if you
What?
define your risk in terms of making money or not, right?
Oh, stop it.
I mean,
Quiet, peanut gallery.
Okay,
Let
sorry.
Emma define her own risk.
so I think that so I can tell you that during my research for my picks this week, I was really struggling to find stuff that I thought would make money and also wasn't completely for the decimation of the planet.
Oh,
So we'll see if any of them actually make money.
they won't. But let's go to Damion with the same question. What do you think the biggest risk to your portfolio might be?
Biggest risk. I can't even. I don't even
It's not a
understand the
metaphysical question.
But I take everything that way, so I'm already stuck.
Sorry, I'm already
That's
exhausted.
his biggest risk.
Okay, to me, it's I'm not a greedy capitalist like Emma. I just don't want to pick shithead companies. I don't want to be embarrassed by what I pick.
Well, Damion is actually closest to the right answer because just so we're clear, the right answer is you. You are both the biggest risk to your portfolio. Every decision you make
To
is
each
probably
other's portfolio or to our own?
your own and each other's, most likely. All right, but let's do a quick refresher of what we've actually got, what we actually own. So we own 13 companies. So far, let's look at it live. So far, you're down 1.14%, and the market is down 1.16%. So
you as a team, you mean?
You two as a team collectively.
Okay.
Damion individually is down 25 basis points. So Emma individually is down 2.45%. So
yes, so Damien's winning is what you're saying.
Damion is currently winning. The big winner in the portfolio overall is Spotify, picked by Emma.
Ooh. Yeah, which I tried to veto.
Up 7%. The big loser is Grow Generation, picked by Emma, down just under 6%. So that's where we are. Do you have any final thoughts before we jump into the companies here?
All I have to say is that if we had invested in Disney and AT&T, I would be winning.
Nobody cares.
I'm going to give that a hell yes. That is true.
You can't do that. You just can't do that your whole life, Emma. You have to, I would rethink how you live your life.
Hell yes.
Well, currently I'm beholden to both of you, which hopefully will end at some point.
Only during this show, mind you. We don't follow you around and help you with the other decisions in your life.
Well, we
it's true. You're very unhelpful.
We can, but we don't.
Okay, let's get into the stocks themselves. We're going to start with Emma. With Emma's first pick for this week. There are 5 picks each, and then we're going to argue about how terrible they are. Emma's first pick is a company called Equinor. All right. I know a little bit about, yes, Equinor.
Is that a gym? Is that a fitness center?
Equinox. Very close.
That's Equinox, and not to be confused with Equifax, which lost all of your data about 5 years ago. This is Equinor.
Jerks.
The Nor stands for Norway, actually. So Emma, why don't you start us off? Why did you pick this particular item?
Okay, so when I was starting my picking, I happened to have a source in the room who is knowledgeable about environmental
What's that source?
Things.
Siri?
She will remain anonymous. However, she does have an education to back up her knowledge, so I do feel as though I can trust it.
This sounds like
and
fake news.
She told me that if I were to go for something environmental, I should go for offshore energy, so offshore wind farms.
Okay. Who is this friend of yours?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
None of your business. These are my sources. Don't try to infiltrate my network.
She's like the Jim Cramer of free float media. Sources.
No,
anyway,
you are. Yeah, go ahead.
That's true. So I did some looking into offshore, and sure enough, many pundits are saying that it is going to be one of the fastest growing sectors of the alternative energy sector. And they just signed on to a bunch of really big projects. So they just signed on to a Shell project to build a massive green hydrogen.
Emma, what have you turned into?
I'm sorry.
You've turned into a full-grown capitalist pundit.
One show later, Emma's totally deep into market penetration.
The bifocals on. The BMW is idling at the curb.
And they also got a contract to build a huge solar farm in Brazil, and BP just bought a 50% stake in 2 Equinor projects in the US.
Wait. On yesterday's show that we recorded, weren't you scoffing at the company's Shell?
Oh, absolutely, I was.
Okay, I'm confused.
That doesn't apply. This is a different show.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Damion, you clearly do not like any of this.
I'm not.
What's going on?
I'm just talking.
Okay. So a couple of things just to note about Equinor. So they're a state-owned company. You know that, right?
Yes.
They are
68% is owned.
She knows now.
I think it's 74% owned by the Norwegian government. So it's effectively an investment in Norway. Oil and gas is actually 18% of Norway's GDP. Equinor is an oil and gas company, although they do a lot of renewables. They're primarily revenue driven by oil and gas. That they're getting offshore of. They're also getting offshore of Norway, where there is oil and gas in the water. And oil and gas is 62% of Norway's exports. So this is a lot of Norway needs Equinor kind of stuff. And the independent board members actually all, or not all, but mostly also worked for Norwegian government entities. So they're not exactly independent. Do you feel good about any of those things? Like, you feel good at being in oil and gas in Norway? And I don't think it's the worst pick. I'll tell you, all the woke data providers love Equinor. All of them. They love them. They love it. So
I'll say, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Damion.
I'll say this. Here's what impresses me right off the bat. Norway has a mandate, right, for women on the boards, 40%. It's a world-leading mandate. The first country to have a mandate, I believe, right, Matt?
I think so, yeah.
This Equinor has Equinor has 36% of women on the board, so it's actually below the mandate. 4 out of 11 board members are women. So I don't know how they pulled that one off.
Wow. Well, because they are Norway, they're 74% country.
Right.
owned.
So they just got the government to look the other way on this one.
They went through a reshuffle recently, if I'm not mistaken. So that might not be a permanent situation.
Look at that. Look at that.
What?
This is what happens when you give Emma a source and a Google, and pretty soon we're talking about Equinor. So
it's true.
You want to buy Equinor? I don't have a lot of reasons not to buy it, except that
it's fine.
Oil and gas is like a stranded asset, right? Like, this is a short-term play in effectively destroying the universe that we live in, right? That's pretty much what we're doing.
Is it going to be a short-term play, though? Based on all the research I did, every major oil and gas company is trying to convert to renewable energy for the most part. And they have the infrastructure and finances to do it.
What do we know the percentage of their revenues that go to oil and gas compared to everything else?
It's a majority of their revenue.
Majority. So this is an oil and gas company. This is not a renewable.
It's an oil and gas company. No, it's not a renewable company. We already bought one of those last time.
Right.
And they also had a tremendous amount of oil and gas.
I don't know. I got to be honest with you. At first, I was into it. I liked the way Emma. You did a good job here. Really,
Thank
you did.
you.
You almost convinced me, but I keep staring at the screen and I keep seeing things like Shell, BP, Netherlands, and I don't like it anymore.
That is called deep analysis from an ex-analyst.
And below the 40% mandate, I don't like that they got away with that. I'm gonna pass.
We're gonna buy it.
I think Matt's gonna say yes. So
we are gonna buy it. We're gonna buy it for $2. We don't have Damien's approval on it. Market order for $2 received. We are going to own Equinor at some point today. So congratulations, Emma. Congratulations on the board again. And if your track record is anything to be respected, it's not. So next up is Damion. And Damien's pick is maybe the most obvious, boring pick first of any company I can think of, which is Apple.
No, last week was way more boring. Didn't I pick Microsoft?
Yeah, you're like desperate to get in bed with like Gen X tech.
No. Well, maybe, but here's my reasoning here is that both Apple and Microsoft have taken the lead of just like mocking and making fun of all the young kids in this tech space, like, all the Facebooks, and so I like that. I like that they've taken on that role because we need those daddy tech providers making fun of them, ridiculing them.
Just made it really gross, actually.
Calling them
daddy
creepy,
tech.
invasive. So the reason why I picked them is because the article was they're calling Apple's moving forward with a plan to limit creepy user tracking. They called Facebook invasive and creepy. So I'm just all down with that. And I like Tim Cook. I like a gay man from Alabama, absolutely. And I like his role in scolding the Zucks of the world. I'm down with Apple.
Do you like all gay men from Alabama or just Tim Cook?
Absolutely. I mean, they're brave. They're brave people.
So
although he didn't stay in Alabama, so maybe that tells you something.
So Emma, do you want to react to this first before I ask? We talk about creepy.
No. My answer is no. It's a no.
Wow.
So you're essentially saying no to a gay man from Alabama.
Oh,
Oh yeah, you're
I
right.
knew you were
A gay man
homophobic.
from
You're on record
Alabama.
for that. How many big corporations do you know that are even run by gay men, open gay men? Come on, what are you
So,
supporting over
Okay.
there? What are you
Peter
supporting
Thiel.
over there?
P- oh, she
So
got. Oh,
then you can
zing, Peter
support that.
Thiel. Well,
He's the CEO of something.
no, but Peter Thiel just invested in
Okay.
in a psychedelic drug company. So even ruining
Okay, but
that for Emma.
I said CEO.
Um,
All I'm saying is that your lovely gay man from Alabama is apparently fine, not only abusing China workers in China, but workers in Vietnam now because they can't work in China
mm,
anymore.
it's a nice touch.
Mm.
But let me ask you, if this is creepy too. Apple's one of Apple's board members is one of my favorite creep stars of all time, Ron Sugar.
Al Gore.
Ron Sugar, Al Gore is on their board, but Ron Sugar's on their board. He's on the board of Uber, Chevron, and Amgen, where he's connected to all the Boeing elite. And we've talked about him on this show before. You feel okay with Ron Sugar overseeing it? Or are you just banking on Tim Cook as the adult in every room?
Yeah, I told you my reasoning. I need people like Apple and Microsoft kind of playing referee to all the zucks.
You're also
I
cool.
like that they come out and talk. I like that they come out and fight with him.
But that's just an FU to Zuck. Why?
So what? This is my reasoning. I told you to begin with, I don't want to invest in like overly shitty companies.
Your reasoning may or may not be stupid. That's what I'm trying to understand.
I don't care. I don't care. I pick Apple.
50% of Apple's sales are phones, which means they have to continually brick your current phone in order to keep that sales number up too.
Emma and I established last week. All the companies they essentially smell a little evil. So I can't. I'm not going to find you any gems here. I'm just saying I like that Apple is picking on Facebook. Can you get it? Can you understand that, Matt?
It's not a matter of understanding. It's a matter of that's a dumb reason to buy a stock. I mean, Emma, you're out on this, right? So it's going to come down.
Absolutely.
It's going to come down to me.
Fun.
Come on,
let's have some fun.
All right. Well, we're going to buy it. We're going to buy $2 worth of it. I'm really on the fence about how dumb the reason is, but I do know that Apple is the adult in most rooms. So we're going to buy it and I'm going to hold my nose and we're going to get it done. Let's move on.
Get used to all of my dumb reasons for investing. This is how I come at this purely from a dumb emotional point of view.
Oh, good.
Always.
Quick aside. Just so you know, Damion is your typical client in that he is emotionally wrapped up in everything he thinks he does. And makes no rational decisions.
Otherwise, why else am I coming to your grubby office helping you make money just sitting around?
Because if you did it yourself, it might even be worse.
I can go to Robinhood. I don't need you.
That's true. That's what we're doing. That's
okay.
Because Robinhood has been very successful in helping people jump off of bridges because they lost all their money. All right, let's move on to Emma. Emma's next pick, a little weird. Weird might be the word for this.
I would agree with you. I think it's a little weird.
I think this is really just Warner Media Part 2. Fubo TV.
Ooh, I like it, Emma.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Let's describe what that even is before we talk about why you even want to buy it.
So it's essentially a streamer and it's focused on, so it pairs with your cable. So it's one of those. So it's like an HBO Max sort of deal that it doesn't, it can work on its own, but it's often paired with your like Xfinity or your AT&T or whatever. But it's very sports focused. So it's like sports first. That's its primary goal, is to get people streaming sports. And the reason I picked it is because it just acquired Balto Sports, which is a company that develops tools for users to organize and play fantasy. And that was given seed money from Y Combinator, I think, which is a seed money firm. And it plans for company expansion into both the free-to-play gaming and online sports wagering, which is obviously going to be and is already a pretty big market. I am very upset with their governance, however. Their governance seems to suck.
However.
However.
They have... I mean, all of their governance sucked. Let's be clear. We have not discussed one company where their governance doesn't suck. I don't want to hear about Twitter. Don't talk to me about Twitter.
I didn't mention Twitter.
I know you're going to bring up Twitter, and I don't want to hear it.
Not mentioning
Yeah, so there's only one woman on the board and one woman in the C-suite, which is not impressive, but not surprising given the fact that they are in sports.
Just as an FYI, too, one of their board members is actually an ex-polo player whose name is Nacho.
Yeah.
So Nacho is overseeing your company. So that seems like an investment worth making.
Spice it up. I like a polo player on the board.
Damion.
Doesn't. Yeah.
Do you, are we just trying to sneak in another Warner? What do you think?
Here we go. First of all, Emma, I like that I like picking underdogs, because of all the streamers we talk about, no one ever talks about Fubo
because
TV.
nobody uses it. That's
no.
right.
Okay, here we go. I've used it twice in the last 3 months because I got a free trial from 2 different email addresses just to watch one game.
Game?
I'm that cheap. I don't remember the game. It was some stupid game, but I'm that cheap, and yes, I do that like all year round. So I like Fubo TV for that. The governance is upsetting.
But isn't all governance upsetting?
No.
I mean, but I don't know. For a company that's like, are they targeting young people? Do you know that, Emma? Or are they
they're looking at sports betting, and I think that the demographic that bets on sports is probably pretty young.
I know, but why would you leave women out of that equation? I don't really understand that.
Women don't play or like sports.
What do you think the demographic is of women betting versus men?
Well, do we know that for a fact?
My wife is a consummate gambler.
Take a wild guess.
Okay, but I mean, I thought from everything I've been reading recently is that the percentage of women in sports audiences, especially even like football, is a lot higher than you think.
I'm sure it is higher than you think. I don't think that equates to high.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Matt, I don't really care about Fubo TV, but I have to make a decision, right?
You do. You have to make a decision.
My instinct is to say no because of their governance, but I'm gonna I just feel like supporting Emma on this one, and I'll just say yes.
Oh, come on!
I don't know.
So
I just don't.
Sweet of you.
I just feel like if I'm gonna be in a I don't care mode, I might as well just be positive.
You guys could go hold the hands and walk under rainbows all day long. You just invested in Apple because surely because they FU'd Facebook and they're run by a gay man.
And I'm not even mad at Emma for poo-pooing that.
And now you're willing to okay a company whose adjusted earnings was a loss of $47 million in the
Emma, you could have told me that.
In the third quarter, which is very slightly less loss than the year before, where they still didn't make money. They have 455,000 subscribers. 455,000.
Amazon hemorrhaged money for years before it ever got off the ground.
I like how you're comparing Fubo TV to Amazon.
Don't worry about it. We don't have to talk about that.
You know, the current chair of Fubo is actually the ex-CEO of Warner. He had to leave Warner. He had to leave Warner because he was indicted for insider trading. He had to pay $5 million as a fine.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to back out of this one.
And not to mention that Fubo has been flagged multiple times for late filings and having to amend the filings after they even filed them because they can't seem to get any accounting right. This is the company the governance is bad, but I like sports betting. That's terrible.
Emma, I was with you, but Matt convinced me. I think I'm done.
Yeah, I'm flashing a big hell no on Fubo TV. I want nothing to do.
Out.
I'm missing out.
I will say this, Emma. I was kind to
nothing.
You. When you crapped on Apple, I didn't even ask you the obvious question, like who makes your phone and who makes your laptop.
At least I picked a unique shitty company. You picked a generic shitty company.
I'm not mocking your choices. I like your choices.
No, it is hard to pick companies whose chair were indicted for insider trading. They actually don't come up as chairs that often. So
this is why we need a governance expert.
That's why they have Nacho to balance them out.
They have nachos.
They have a board member named Nacho. So they got Nacho and indicted ex-CEO. All right, we're going to move on.
They have actual nachos, and I'll say yes.
We're going to move on from that crap fest to the next company, which is Damion's company, which I'm going to preface this by saying I can't believe I'm going to say this. I love this choice. It's Adobe. So
that means Emma is going to hate it. All right, I'll keep it short and simple.
I need to hear your reason.
To me, it's purely emotional. Adobe.
God, you had to ruin it for me.
Adobe has taken the lead on just like a bizarre level of disclosure when it comes to diversity data. That's one of the biggest things that I push is I want all companies to release the data. To show us what they're doing so that we can analyze it and figure it out and yell at them. Adobe, even though no one is making them doing it, is doing it. And the latest report, and I know this doesn't deserve like full applause because it's still I would say pay your women more than men. But Adobe just announced that they pay their women 99% as much as their men.
Oh, nice. Almost there.
The national average is 82%. I'm sure in tech it's much lower than 99%. I know it's not a full victory here, but I'm really just trying to be supportive of the companies that seem to actually be giving a shit about something. So that's why I picked them.
Emma, can you? I like this company, and every reason you just had was stupid. So go ahead.
I like know. That's where I'm struggling because I do. I'm conflicted. I feel like I have a semi-personal relationship with Adobe given the amount of time I spend using their products.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I use them every day. They're right in front of my face all day long. And I don't know. I hate that the 99% is a win for everyone. And
no, it's a win for me. It's not for everyone. It's a win for me.
This is not about you. I guess it sort of
is. It is because I picked.
So Emma, are you in or out on Adobe? Or do you want to wait? Because I'll tell you what I think.
I want to hear what you have to say first.
Okay. Sometimes, brief aside, sometimes your clients actually want to hear your opinion about things. So here's what I think. Here's the bad first. The bad first is the board is basically comprised entirely of ex or current CEOs. Two of them actually are ex-Adobe CEOs. That takes a special level of stupidity.
That's a problem, yeah.
to actually include your own ex-CEOs both on the board. Also, none of the women on the board were CEOs because there are none of that. That's like a magical unicorn.
I was going to say, good luck finding them.
Catching a leprechaun.
It's like finding a gay man from Alabama as your CEO.
It doesn't happen. There are none. The leadership team is stereotypically men. So while they are releasing all this diversity data, everything else about them is fairly stereotypical. The two women who are on the leadership team are the chief people officer and the chief marketing officer, and they're two of the 9 leadership members. So well done stereotyping yourselves. They probably make 99 cents to the dollar of somebody else's chief people officer. which great. Congratulations. But the good is at least they are self-aware. The diversity data is pretty awesome.
And as far as, but if you're looking at the leadership, as far as people of color goes, they're trendsetters here.
Let's dial it back. Can we?
There's like it's like 6 out of 9, 7 out of 9.
Yeah, I mean.
What do you mean? Yeah, I mean you're talking about governance.
But they're all ex-CEOs or current CEOs.
Okay, I'm just
one
saying,
of whom.
Okay. Small victories here. We need victories.
Well, here's the victory. Okay, here's actually this. First of all, I'll say that this is probably the first good idea you've ever had to invest in Adobe. So, congratulations for having your first.
Quitting my regular job.
Brutal.
No, that was actually one of the worst ideas you ever had, because this is what we've come to. Here's a fun fact why I like Adobe. So Adobe got itself in the middle of defund the police controversy. They were apparently, there's a group called RAGA, R-A-G-A, not to be confused with MAGA. This is the Republican Attorney General Association, who were running ads. I guess they lobby on behalf of themselves, but they were running ads that said defunding the police is dangerous. And Adobe killed the ads. They basically got themselves in a controversy because they wouldn't run those ads. Adobe, somehow knowing that those ads shouldn't be on their platform, but Facebook and the rest of social media can't figure it out. And the fun fact that I like about this is RAGA's executive committee, their executive board, like whatever their leadership board is, 3 of the 4 attorney generals on that board were 3 of the 4 states that did not sign on to the Facebook antitrust suit. So congrats to Adobe for neutering morons. I like every bit of that. I like that anecdotally. I'm a deep hell yes on this. I'm a hell yes. So Emma, it's how much? Are you in? Are you out? Are you getting on the right train, or are you going off the rails somewhere?
That was very compelling. I wish it wasn't so compelling, but it really was. I'm in it.
We're in deep. Damion got himself a $5 buy on Adobe. I like owning Adobe. I might.
I just can't afford their products, but that's fine.
Well, yeah, I can't use anything they do, but that's fine. Okay. So the next thing we've got here on our list is an Emma pick. It is GW Pharmaceuticals.
GW.
Mm-hmm.
George Washington?
I don't know. So what a creepy, boring name.
Why don't you even tell us who they are and what they do? Because I have a suspicion here what we're doing.
So the name might be a little misleading. Mm-hmm. It really is a pharmaceutical company, but they do deal with cannabis.
Okay, they deal with cannabis. I mean, they're drug dealers.
Not in
I
cannabis.
mean, you could argue that any pharma companies.
I would argue
dealer.
that. Yes, I in fact argue that. I agree that Starbucks is a drug dealer.
Oh God!
Caffeine, absolutely. 100%.
Does anybody have a soapbox we can put Damion on for the rest of the show?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with drugs. I'm just saying they're drug dealers.
So they use cannabinoids essentially to make like FDA approved mainstream drugs. And the company, it also has non-marijuana based drugs in its pipeline that may be receiving FDA approval soon. So that's sort of interesting point.
Just as an aside, if your client ever says that that this company feels like a hot stock that may get FDA approval at some point, that's a red flag that you should not buy that hot stock because Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, is trying to sell it to you.
It's not really a hot stock. I don't think it is.
How many articles on Seeking Alpha are there about GW Pharmaceuticals when no one's ever heard of them? A lot.
Oh my God.
Give her a break. She likes weed. Why'd you pick them?
So, first of all, they have 2 drugs on the market right now, one of which treats MS, one of which treats seizures. And secondly, I think it is really interesting conceptually to think about a pharma company figuring out how to get through the FDA, like making headway on that process. because I don't really think that many pharma companies have done that yet. And if they can figure out how to get it all regulated and through the FDA and prescribable via doctors that are not specialist weed doctors, that's interesting to me. That's it.
So one of those drugs is actually, it's a cannabis extract. It was approved as a botanical drug in the UK, quote, despite a lack of convincing evidence of its effectiveness. So aren't they just a health supplement, basically, company? They're basically out there being like, this is great for you. You should take it. No. Damion, are we investing in just more weed? Is this just a sit on the couch and get stoned investment?
Well, first of all, I typically I'd say I like Emma's weed. I like her push into weed. I do. But I'm concerned about her first weed pick, which makes me think that maybe Emma
that was so different though.
That she doesn't know how to pick weed companies. Here's the thing that bothers me about this company. I'm quickly checking into their governance because that's what I do.
Oh, it's so bad. Their governance.
Okay, once again, Emma, I don't know who you are.
Oh, the governance is bad.
But I'm even like I'm fixated on the fact that one of their directors is someone called Lord Waldegrave of North Hill.
Ooh, Lord Waldegrave,
the right honorable. He's a conservative. What do you call him? Minister from England who served with Margaret Thatcher. From the Conservative Party. I just can't. I can't mix weed, Conservative Party, Thatcher. I can't do it. I can't do it. It just takes all the fun out of weed. I don't want these guys selling it.
So we're out on you're out on it then.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I am.
I feel like if I'm going to, as a general rule, if I'm going to invest in any pharma company, whether it's weed or not, number one, I want to know that their drugs work in some way. And number two, I like to read through all the side effects of their drugs because those are the more entertaining things I feel like in making a choice.
Oh, come on.
So side effects for one of them include dizziness, drowsiness, constipation, or diarrhea. I like that they can do both. That seems useful to me in some way.
I hope not at the same time, because wouldn't that cause like a I don't know, some kind of a explosion?
Fatigue, memory or concentration problems, dry mouth, or changed sense of taste. It basically just lists. I mean, at some point you just have to be like, why didn't you just smoke a joint? Because that's all the side effects. And the other one is actually similar in as much as it can cause, I think they said, stomach upset. They don't know what the doses they should give you is. It's, what is it? Diarrhea, fatigue, decreased appetite, poor quality of sleep, insomnia, and sleepiness. So you're sleepy, but an insomniac. They're just describing weed. I'm kind of out on this. I'm going to say hell no. And I'm going to say hell no because you should just buy weed. Stop buying weed adjacent health supplements. Can we just buy the real thing? Let's buy the real thing.
But then your insurance could maybe pay for it.
Oh, stop it.
Must be nice to have insurance.
You rail against the broken healthcare system, and you want insurance to pay for my FDA unapproved crap.
Honestly, and I don't know if we can do this, but I'd almost pick this one over Grow Generation. I just feel I'm scared about how much Grow Generation is killing all our money.
We can't do that.
Can't do that.
This is what happens. Now you're afraid of the money. You went from capitalist I'm
afraid of Emma's
tree hugging, marijuana loving, like a rebel, to capitalist when you see that you lose money. Let's move on to Damien's next uber capitalist pick in Starbucks.
Okay, yeah. Again, this is the same reasoning as Adobe. Starbucks just announced that they hired Melody Hobson as the chair of Starbucks, the board chair, making her the only black female chair in America. That's it.
That's it. That's it.
No, that's not a minor thing to me. You can mock it. I know Emma's rolling her eyes. She'll tell me, all the reasons why that's not important. This kind of stuff is important to me. I'm sorry, it is. Just like Kamala Harris becoming vice president doesn't solve all of the problems in the world, but it solves something for me in my heart. Yeah, it's important.
It's all about your heart.
Your heart.
Yeah, you're asking me to pick stocks. I don't pick stocks. I don't pick like weed companies run by like Maggie Thatcher's hitmen. I pick ones that actually have the guts to do a thing.
Ask your wife to give you a hug. Don't buy Starbucks. Emma, I know you're going to say no, but tell me why.
Well, she's going to say no because Damion picked it.
No, that's true because it's competition.
If I'm not mistaken,
here we go.
Starbucks was not like maybe earlier in 2020 was one of the companies named that uses what is essentially slave labor. So there's that.
Give me some facts behind that assertion.
I think so. This is
slave
me
adjacent
pulling on memory from way back when, but
memory.
I can find. Let's see. I think for their cups, like whoever makes their cups, I think are the people who are incredibly impressed. But what are you really trying to make it seem like that's not real? Of course, that's probably real.
It was so Starbucks. They got caught. I think caught is the right word. The farms that they were buying from were using child labor.
Okay, well, children, fine. Yeah, children need a job too, Emma.
Oh my God.
I know.
Well,
Anti-children, anti-gay, anti-woman.
On Fubo TV that could be working.
Emma's pro-weed and pro-gambling.
I will add that Melody Hobson was not at Starbucks when that happened.
Oh, God.
So, but here's where you were overly negative about my reaction. I appreciate the optics of that. I like that Starbucks
more than optics
was willing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huh?
No, it's more than optics, but keep going.
It depends. So I am very impressed by Starbucks' willingness to piss off white supremacists, I guess. So, and we know how much of America is made up by white supremacists. So that's probably a fairly large group of people that they're pissing off. So good for them for that. It seems I like that she's a champion of financial literacy, given the fact that throughout my education, no one emphasized the importance of financial literacy at all. And unless you were an econ major or a finance major, I know no one that can explain anything about finance to me. And even my econ major friends, they know nothing about the stock market. Nothing. And so,
to be fair, your econ major friends are idiots.
Okay. All right.
Don't tell
I went into college an econ major. Leave me alone. I did not come out one though. So I actually am going to say yes to this.
Oh, after all of that, it's a yes.
I know why she said yes, because she likes the fact that she's married to George Lucas, Star Wars director.
Yeah, that was definitely it.
I did not know that.
Matt,
that makes me want to say no.
Matt, this will be a reason why you should say yes. She is the first African-American woman to be the head of the Economic Club of Chicago.
I don't care about the Economic Club of Chicago, but
that's where all your favorite Chicago land mafioso directors hang out. All your Caterpillar Boeing buddies.
It is true. They are all there.
She's the head of them.
Come
on, you love that.
It's lovely. But
okay.
I can't understand. You're picking with your heart because of Melody Hobson. I can't understand how a Portland, Maine blue collary dude who lives in a Dunkin' Donuts town is picking the overpriced bespoke coffee adjacent drink vendor that is Starbucks.
I'm glad you mentioned this because I was thinking about this. And I don't know if this is unique to Portland, but Dunkin' and Starbucks are basically considered the same thing in a city like Portland. They're both considered trash. Like if you're not going to the hoity free trade organic, we have some wonderful coffee shops here, And if you go to either Dunkin' or Starbucks, you're considered an idiot. So they're basically the same thing out here. I don't know about where
You're
you guys
wrong.
are. I'm wrong. You're
Wrong.
telling me about my own city?
Yes. Dunkin' and Starbucks are starkly different things.
You're crazy. You're
Even
crazy.
outside of the Portland bougie bean town, you know?
No, you're wrong. They're both considered. You're considered a scourge on society if you go to either one of them in this town.
But also, just as a side note, and I'm curious if this changes your mind. In a blue collar town, you did pick a company whose CEO gets paid 1,675 times the average frontline COVID juice covered employee.
What company is that?
That's Starbucks. Ron Johnson, their CEO, gets paid more
Ron
than
Johnson.
1,600 times.
Great name though.
So you chose it because they added one black woman to the board and made her chair. And Ron Johnson still got paid 1,600 times the COVID covered frontline essential workforce that is serving.
Here's the thing, Matt.
Caramel, jacked, whatever.
Here's the thing, Matt. I don't know if you've listened to our show called Business Pants. It's on.
I've never heard of it.
Sporadic, but I pretty much say every other show how much I want women to take over everything. I'm a big proponent of women in leadership, always have been in my professional career. I would not miss an opportunity like this to praise Starbucks. So get over it.
I want Ron Johnson to take over everything with a name like Ron Johnson. You both said yes, so I have to buy it for $2. I would not have said yes.
$2.
Yes. So you now own Starbucks. And
can't even get a coffee for $2 at Starbucks.
That's correct. We're spending less on the coffee than we are on the actual, less on the stock than we are on the actual coffee. So we're going to move on because I'm tired of you investing with your heart, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
Why? Okay. But seriously, like, put on your financial analyst hat, whatever you call yourself. Why is that so ridiculous?
To invest with your heart?
But why? What other indicators are there that are fail-proof? Why is this any more or less stupid than anything else? Seriously, being serious.
Yeah, because your heart makes dumb. Did you ever get in a relationship before with your heart? How many of those worked out?
I don't know what you're talking about. So you're telling me that by using just purely your brain that you could pick a portfolio where every stock is a success?
No, I'm saying that there's some mixture of those things, but if you pick just because of one of those things, you make stupid decisions. If you only listen to your heart because you love weed and weed gets extra regulated out of existence, then congratulations, you lost all your money.
Well, that's where you're wrong because that's not what I'm doing. I mean, I said to begin with that I'm most afraid of the risk of picking shitty companies that embarrass me. If Starbucks was, an oil and gas company, for example, I wouldn't pick them just because of Melody Hobson.
No, they just got caught in child labor scandal and paid their CEO 1,600 times your average employee instead. So
granted, but she wasn't there. So I'm relying on a woman in a leadership position to change the culture there a little bit. I'm hoping.
This is an aside to Melody Hobson only. I suspect you're listening.
I know she's listening.
You have no pressure, but you need to change all of male-oriented thinking.
Why not? What else do you have to do?
Every place. Thanks, Melody. All right, can we move on to the rapey shit show that is Airbnb, which was Emma's next pick?
This is my pick, and I will read you the note that I wrote under it, which was, I don't know why I felt like we should probably talk about it. And that is my entire reason. I mostly want to hear what you guys think.
Okay, about Airbnb?
About Airbnb, because it IPO'd today, like I told you it would. And it has so many issues that I don't even know where to start with all of Airbnb's issues. But is it worth what they said it was worth? I don't know.
Damion, do you want to talk about this first, or shall I?
No, you should, because you've done the requisite research.
So, Emma, you have a penchant for picking some of the shittiest governance situations that I can possibly think of. Airbnb, not different. Get outside of the media reports of rapes and assaults in the properties themselves and how they
So
can't
put
really
that
police
aside.
it.
You want me to put that aside?
We're just going to put that over to one side, okay?
Okay. I'll put the rape pile over here.
Great.
We'll come back to that maybe. First of all, they're one of the few companies I've ever seen that issues 4 kinds of stock.
That's 4 different ways of effing the investor.
Not 2 or even 3, but Palantir level 4 kinds of stock.
Yeah. Because they can, Matt. Because they can.
Because they can. A, B, C, and H shares. They didn't. They just skipped D. They didn't even do D.
What's
D,
up
E,
with
F,
that?
G. F all those. We're going right to H.
If anybody who's listening knows about that, can you tell me? Will you call me?
I
want to know
why
why do they skip over those letters and go to H? What is that about?
Why do they bother calling it A, B, C? Why not just pick the letters you like? Q and J and maybe a couple letters in a row. The executives of Airbnb own 44% of the Class B shares, which have 20 times the voting rights of every normal investor. So you have no rights. It's a fake public company. There's no point in considering yourself a shareholder because you just bought hopey changey future is really all you bought. And one of the people who owns some of those B shares is an all-time favorite board member of ours, Ann Mather. Ann Mather, the token female tech board member, owns B shares. So she gets to vote. Congratulations to Ann. That feels like a bigger win than Melody Hobson because Ann actually has more influence over her company than Melody Hobson does. That's the beginning of the governance problems. I'm not sure how I know it's a hot stock right now, but I'm not sure how you land on a company that makes a modest profit, barely, and just started making it with no shareholder rights. And then if we go to our rapey pile and bring back the fact that there's a rapey assaulty problem, how you invest in that?
Agreed.
Yeah, go ahead, Emma. Is that it?
I think that's it, Damion. Unless are you gonna fight for the buy? Because Emma's not even fighting for her own.
No, I mean
stock.
I say no. I hate that pick. Who picked that?
My problems with Airbnb aren't. You didn't even list my problems with it. So yeah. So I don't even need to. I don't even need to say what I
want
think
one
about.
of your problems. Is it your heart? Does it hurt your heart?
No,
Can I guess your problem?
Yeah, go ahead.
My guess as to what Damien's problem is that Airbnb is a huge contributor to gentrification. Was that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just gentrification. Yeah, I guess if you
Starbucks isn't.
Okay, Starbucks has nothing to do with it. They're just drug dealers. Who cares? Yeah, it's the way they've messed up like rent and real estate, and yeah, and look, I come as you guys pointed out, I come from a blue collar city, so it actually you can see the effect it has in a place like this, and you really can see it.
Speaking of coming from a blue collar city where you value local, Damien's next choice is Tencent, which is actually Vivendi, in fairness. But you can't buy
it wasn't
Vivendi.
Tencent. It was Vivendi. Yeah,
because
so
you can't buy it, though. So, but
let's be fair. I didn't want to invest in Tencent. Okay, so we're done with Airbnb?
We're done with Airbnb. It's a hell no. I'll even flash the hell no on the screen. Now we can go on to Tencent.
Okay. All right. Well, this one, I feel cheated by this one because I actually wanted to invest in Vivendi because you guys know I'm an annoying Francophile, and Vivendi is based in Paris, and but we can't invest in Vivendi because Robinhood sucks, so we have to do 10%. Sorry, Tencent, because Tencent is a 10% owner in the company that I want to invest in, and that is Universal Music Publishing Group. And the reason why I want to invest in that is because they just bought all the music of Bob Dylan, and I'm pro Bob Dylan, and that's it. It's that simple. I don't care. I don't care beyond that.
The boomers everywhere are very deeply in agreement with you.
Yeah, that's just it. It's that simple of a choice. I didn't look into anything about anything. I saw Bob Dylan, and that's it. I was done. It's over.
And boomers are morons. Emma, do you want to talk about this? Because we have to invest in Chinese company Tencent, not actually Vivendi.
That's the weird part of this. I'm okay if you say no. I'm okay because I actually do want to invest in Vivendi, so I don't know what to think about this one.
First of all, I think that partially it's interesting because the idea of buying up an artist, like a huge artist like Bob Dylan, his entire discography is crazy and potentially very, very lucrative. And if it keeps doing that, and if other companies follow in their footsteps, it could create a very interesting niche in the music market for licensing and stuff. But it also makes me sort of sad for artists that they just, all their life's work, their entire artistry is being sold to a huge company, just be pieced off and sold for huge amounts of money. I don't know.
Bob Dylan only made $300 million. Wah.
Why are you objecting to the general commodification of art, or are you objecting to
let's be clear.
Yeah.
If art doesn't make money, art doesn't exist. Like, it is that simple.
That's a strange thing to say, but keep going.
It is. Well, so
I guess you've never been an artist, I suppose.
Oh yeah, no, film and media studies major knows nothing about art.
I'll tell you this: I have created a lot of art in my life, and it's made me 0 cents. So what does that mean?
But the entire art world does not exist if some artists don't make money. So it's necessary.
You mean the art business? You mean the art business?
Correct.
Okay, because the art world still exists without the commodification of art.
Hey, right. When you guys are done curating a museum, can we talk about Tencent, the company that we're supposed to buy?
But Tencent makes me mad, and so I'm giving it a no.
Here's the only thing you need to know about Tencent.
Say no too.
In December of last year, the Chinese government, Tencent's a Chinese company, the Chinese government reprimanded Tencent for infringing on their users' privacy. Tencent owns WeChat, which is China's version of WhatsApp. Which is huge. Or WhatsApp is China's US version of WeChat, either way. But the Chinese government, who used WeChat to systematically track Uyghurs and oppress them, reprimanded Tencent, the owner of WeChat, for infringing on their users' privacy. I can't even imagine what Tencent did to get the Chinese government to say, whoa, that's even too far for us. We wouldn't do that. So this is a hell no, because I don't know there's no grounds to ever buy this ever. All right, let's go on.
I got two things to say. One, I agree with you, and two, Uyghur, please.
Oh my God.
You want to invest in Uyghurs? Is that what you want?
No, I'm with you.
All right, here is the next company, and there's only one more company after this. Emma's next company is I don't know where this came from, because
Emma.
When it comes to like understanding your client, they will often choose things that are kind of obvious. Emma choosing Fubo TV, GW Pharmaceuticals. Those are kind of obvious to me.
Really? Fubo TV. Okay.
Trying to step out a little bit with Equinor, but not totally outside of Zeitgeist, which when we bought Brookfield Renewable Energy on the last show. Mm-hmm. Damien's sticking with mega cap tech companies that he thinks are giving FUs to other mega cap companies. So just a bunch of mega cap companies yelling at each other. At least there's some consistency here. This one is not consistent. It is Air Products and Chemicals.
What's that, Emma?
So I feel like I need to tell you the origin of this pick,
Yes.
which
What are
was
they?
I was deep in the New York Times. I like sort of fell down a rabbit hole, and I
Right.
came across an article that the U.S. is about to go through a helium shortage.
Excuse
So
me?
apparently, in the 1920s, the U.S. government invested in helium, and I think you mine helium, but they created a huge store of helium, and they auctioned it off. And apparently, the last U.S. helium auction is going to be in 2023 because we're basically running out. Russia, on the other hand, has a huge stockpile of helium and a lot of helium sources in their geographical landscape. So we're going to have to start buying Russian helium, which is going to be a problem for the US, given the fact that US Russian relations are never stable. And God knows if we'll have cut off export access to them. But Air Products and Chemicals Incorporated apparently is a helium supplier and have access to helium in the US. And they also have a lot of natural gas access. So I was just
you can
like,
throw that
and
in. Yeah.
apparently I had no idea about alternative uses for helium,
Tell
but
me.
apparently they're used in like a lot of things, including
Like what?
MRIs. Like
Really?
MRIs require a certain amount of helium. And I was like, oh, I want people to still be able to get MRIs, I guess. So they need helium. So here we
What
are.
else? What else? What are the other uses for helium other than the obvious?
Blimps and balloons.
Yeah, well, of course.
They're used in liquid jet fuel to send you to space. So this is actually interesting because this is sort of an FU to Elon Musk, who wants to go to Mars and is going to require a tremendous amount of helium to get there. So this is like Emma extorting her Elon Musk through an investment pick. Used in airbags, used in fiber optic cables to carry the internet. Used in shielding, like arc shields or arc welding, rather. It's used in a couple of things. It's just this seems to be what happens when you give a client a little bit of information, but not all the information, because they come up with picks like we should buy Air Products because in 2023 we're not going to have any helium anymore. Which actually makes no sense because Air Products and Chemicals don't operate exclusively in the U.S. They happen to have operations in the U.S., but they have anti-competitive issues because they're one of the primary suppliers in the world of chemicals and products, and they have joint ventures everywhere in the world. So that they don't operate in that the U.S. runs out of helium means that there's just no helium coming out of the U.S. and they go to Russia instead, and they pay the Russian government probably substantial semi-corrupt bribes in order to access their helium, as per usual with most of these mining and industrial companies. But Damion, do you feel the helium pinch in Portland?
I don't even know I don't know what's going on. I don't know what any of you are talking about. I just feel like supporting Emma on this one, and mostly because I didn't like
heart.
I didn't like the way you crapped on her there. I didn't like your reasoning. Usually I'm all for your anger and the way you make fun of people, but that one didn't land on me. I don't know what you're talking about, Matt.
You just supported Putin. Your heart says that's okay?
I'm supporting Emma's desire to invest in helium. It sounds ridiculous, and I love it.
Okay, clowns everywhere agree with you. So it doesn't bother you that just as a side fun fact, one of the guys on their board is Matt Paul. He's the CFO of our favorite governance shit show, that is McDonald's. He oversaw.
Wait, so when am I supposed to care about people on the board? I try to pick a company based on the new chair, who's a black woman, which is unheard of. That I can't do that, but I have to pay attention to this idiot.
Wait, you're supposed to ignore the idiots along with the other facts because one black woman joined the board?
I gotta tell you, go to the Air Products leadership page and just look at the pictures of their the board members and their executives. They're funny looking people. I'm supporting them just for that. Those are some funny ass pictures.
I have to admit, I almost cropped the picture of the sustainability officer at Air Products because he is a strange looking dude. At least I should say this. It's a strange picture of a person.
There's a very strange. I know exactly who you're talking about. I'm looking at you, Simon.
They have to choose those photos, right? It's not like, and he was like, "That's the best one. Go with that one."
Yeah. It also looks like someone there looks like Beetlejuice too. I'm definitely for Air products, mostly because of the pictures.
Yes.
Here's what we're gonna do, because I also think Damien's gaming you right now, Emma. I think he wants Air products to go down, and it's gonna be in your column. So he's agreeing.
I can't predict.
I
can't predict stocks going up and down. So I don't. No, that's not. I'm not gaming.
Matt
Emma.
said yes.
Damien, I'm going to say yes because I think this is ridiculous and I want to see this through. But Damien, just as my final aside.
Yeah, final aside.
Damien just said the smartest thing a client will ever say, which is, "I can't predict."
I'm angry. I can't predict.
They can't predict anything ever. He said stocks, but what he meant was, I have no idea what's ever going to happen in the history of the future. And that would be correct.
That's for all things.
So we just placed an order for, of all companies, Air products and chemicals. Never thought that would happen, but we just did it. And now I'm going to go to a company with which, unless Emma agrees, it's just a no. There's no way we're doing it.
Oh.
Viacom CBS.
Oh.
Damien's pick.
Yeah. Why? Because they're bringing back iCarly.
Wow.
Compelling.
That's it.
Emma.
Look, Damien, you were just really nice to me. And so I do want to be nice to you back. However, I think I am on average.
There's a comma.
I think on average I am meaner than you, and so I think I'm going to stick with that average and give it a very firm no.
Okay. That's it.
Damien,
give me some reasoning at least.
Just no.
I want to hear why you hate. I want to hear why you hate them.
Because number one, Viacom is one of the other companies that owns like the majority of the world. And that monopoly is upsetting to me. And also the fact that none of the iCarly actors have found anything else better to do than to reboot their show they did is sad.
Well, then this is the perfect place for them. Come on back to Viacom.
Damien, can I just have you explain Sherry Redstone and Sumner Redstone, the Redstone family, before I say no?
Explain them?
Yes, just discuss them really briefly so that I don't have to, and then we can just say no and move on with our lives.
Let's just say that the CBS empire is controlled very tightly by the Redstone family, who own National Amusements. Sumner held on for 180 years. He just died at the age of 187. He took over the company when he was 7. Shari is the remaining child that he actually likes. And she's now taking over the empire. That's about it. It's a tightly controlled company by a family, the Redstone family. Although I guess there's only one left.
74% of the company is owned by Sherry Redstone. They actually had deep family. It was like they're partially the inspiration for the HBO series, right? The Succession. Fox, CBS, Viacom. It's like,
are they? I always thought that was the Murdoch family, but
it is the Murdoch family.
Sure, Redstone too. Yeah,
it's the Redstones are very, very similar. They've been big sort of like arcs in the storyline that I think are based off of the Redstone family. Weren't they involved in a lawsuit in which they sued each other? The Redstone family members sued each other.
Yeah, that does sound familiar.
Sumner
There's
Redstone
a lot of that
had to settle with his ex-girlfriend at one point.
Right. Yeah, because she's like 50 years younger, and some of the kids were upset that how much of the control she was getting.
Yeah, they gave her a bunch of control. Yeah, this is the company you wanted to buy.
Well, yeah, it's a TV network. I mean, I like that the people who run it are crazy like TV show characters.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
I have another reason. I hate
To
this.
like them. Wait, can I just say, Emma, before you get to that reason, can you at least
Mm,
ask me where did Shari Redstone graduate? Where'd she get her degree from?
I don't know where.
A place called Tufts University.
Well, so did
oh
Jamie
personal
Dimon, so
zing.
we're batting really low here.
Okay.
Um, but my other reason is that I
Yeah.
have huge beef with reboots in
Re
general.
reboots. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Reboots. Go ahead.
yes, because number one, we seriously have no more original content to create. We have to
Correct.
reboot a show we already did.
They're not reusing
Secondly,
the scripts. They're writing new scripts. How
but
dare you?
God forbid we create a new or different show, or even just an offshoot of iCarly using a side character that involves people of color, maybe, God forbid, someone non-binary, maybe someone who
Oh,
isn't upper middle class.
now she cares. You don't care about a woman being the chair of a S&P 500 company, but this you're worried about a black character from
I
Seattle.
said yes for Starbucks.
How dare you? Oh, you did. Okay, no, sorry. I was yelling at Matt there. Look,
Just
I got to be honest with both of you. I know it's a crappy choice. I know they suck. I just got, I got bowled over by our
Thank
Carly.
you. Keep flashing it. Keep flashing it.
Yeah.
You got bowled over
Sorry.
by our iCarly, but did not get bowled over by their other number one show or top 10 show, Young
Yeah, which is
Sheldon.
what- Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't want to
Not
speak
into
about
that. And not to mention that their most of their ratings, actually CBS is largely outside of the top 10. Nobody watches CBS. NBC is in the top 10 of Nielsen ratings. Where they are in the top 10 and they dominate the top 10 all over the place are in syndication, because their number one shows include such classics as Judge Judy.
Ooh, I love Judge Judy. Judge Judy
Feud,
Shineland.
Family Feud, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, and Inside Edition. You basically invested in what old people watch in Florida as your investment in CBS Viacom.
I have two
Flyover
things.
States network.
I have two things to say about that. Number one, Nielsen is not a trustworthy rating system. You should not listen to it.
Get off.
It's true. Number two, syndication is where the money is, man. If you're looking for money, it's syndication.
Here's what I think.
Thanks for that, Emma.
I think to wrap up the show, we bought some more crappy stocks. It looks like, flicking back through what we bought, we ended up buying Equinor. I believe we bought Apple. Let's just do a quick review, shall we? We bought, trying to pull up the history from today. We bought
Adobe.
See. Adobe, I'm a big fan of. That was a good buy. We did not buy GW Pharmaceuticals because we don't peddle in crappy health products. We did buy Starbucks because you made me. We did not buy Airbnb because they have a rapey problem and it's a fake public company. We did not buy Tencent because also a fake public company and Uyghur oppression and China, because Damion, I believe, is racist. We did buy Air Products and Chemicals. We did. We bought that. And we did not buy CBS Viacom. So all in all, I call it a pretty good show. In as much as my clients are still, they're moderately more educated, but more or less, Damion spent the entire show telling me he needed to buy things with his heart. So that's not a good sign.
Every week. Yeah.
Not a good sign for our investment future. Thank you, Damion, and thank you, Emma. We'll be back next week with Business Pants on Tuesday, if you listen to the podcast, Wednesday, if you are listening on WMPG in Gorham, Portland. And we'll have another show on Thursday where we're going to do Biz Nuggets. We'll have another Blowhard Index in a week. I want to also give a shout out to a friend of mine, a local friend of mine. This is a placed non-advertisement shout out. A teacher at my kid's school, Eric Feeney, he has an org called Friends with Feeney, where they actually help kids in West Hartford, Connecticut, who it's kind of like a Big Brother, it's like a Big Brother style organization. They're helping local kids who could use it. So shout out to Feeney and Friends with Feeney. If you're looking for somewhere to donate this holiday season, he's a friend and he teaches at the local school. He's a good dude. And he's got a podcast
Matt?
too. He's got friends. He's got friends, and they do a podcast because you can go look up the Friends with Feeney podcast. That's my local shout out. Otherwise,
to be fair, Matt, who doesn't have a podcast?
Everybody.
A great point.
Everybody in the universe does. Otherwise, we'll be back at you next week. Thank you for nothing, Emma and Damion.
Always love to provide nothing for you.
And